Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Heather.
This is Moose and Maple, and we're Roaming with Moose. Alrighty, so why did we go tiny?
Do you want, like, is it like for like,
Well, first of all, you have dirt all over your face. Okay.
So why did we move into a school bus?
Why did we move into a school bus? What a great question. So we moved into a school bus for a couple reasons. We're from New York, Long Island specifically, and life just got a little bit too fast-paced. We were looking at tiny homes, we were looking at shipping container homes, we were looking at buying a plot of land, and then one day we saw school buses on our Instagram feed.
Actually, you showed me a school bus because I've never seen them in my entire life. I didn't even know what this was, and then Joe showed me. And I feel like all the puzzle pieces just clicked in that moment because we were looking for a change, but we didn't know what we were looking for. There's nothing about it that doesn't feel like home because you actually don't really need as much as you think you do. So it's like if you have those conveniences and put your own cute spin on it, it just feels like our home. And we get to just wake up in different places all the time. Sometimes though, in parking lots and things like that, it's like not, so glamorous, but this beautiful Oregon Outback is a pretty cool spot to wake up to.
It's just been so great to be out and see what this country has to offer because it's got quite a lot of offerings.
Got a lot of stuff.
Quite a variety, yeah.
A lot of variety.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Alrighty, so first things first, our bus was a mid-sized school bus. So it's not the mini, it's not the full size, somewhere right in the middle of that. So going down the length of the bus, we have about 27 feet, including the back hitch. And width-wise, we're about 7.5 feet. And with the 18 feet behind the driver's seat that's actually livable, we have about 100 square feet of livable space. So let me take you down the side of the bus. So on the driver's side of the bus, we made a few modifications. First thing that I'll point out is that we added some aftermarket toolboxes and welded them into the bottom of the bus. One of the biggest challenges about living tiny is storage. Where do we put things? So we knew that we were going to try to get as much storage out of this place as we could, so those were necessary for us. Second thing I'll call out here, this is our propane box. So our propane feeds our tankless water heater, which is housed here. This is the exhaust for it, and it also feeds our stove and our oven. And honestly, it's kind of surprising how long propane lasts us. We can go, honestly, 2 to 3 months without having to swap out our propane tank. It's just a regular barbecue-sized propane tank that we put in here. Another thing about the bus is you'll notice that we don't have any of the original school bus windows on the side of the bus. When we got the bus, the windows that we had, the ceiling on them was totally deteriorating, so we just ripped them all out. We put sheet metal up, riveted it into the bus, and then replaced the windows with RV windows from Rec Pro. And these things are much better at retaining heat and maintaining a temperature inside the bus. Also, on the roof of our bus, you'll notice we have 5 100-watt solar panels on the front side of the bus. Here we did a small bump out where we cut part of the roof off, fabricated a taller ceiling, and that way we could stand up where our shower is. And the last thing at the back of the bus is our roof deck, our rooftop deck. Hey, Maple girl. Hey, Moose. Oh, they probably smell the treats I have. So I have treats in my pocket, just in case. It's tough to film these things when you have 2 dogs that want all the attention in the world. So I have a pocket full of treats. That way I can feed the pigeons. Go. Maple. And that should keep them busy for a little while trying to sniff out the treats. So the rooftop deck was a huge project for us. We had to custom weld the entire frame of it, and then we used pressure treated wood at the top, and that was just another way for us to get more space out of the bus. Living inside the bus, it is just one room, it's just 100 square feet, so having an exterior space where we can go just makes it feel a little bit bigger, a little more homey, and plus it's really great to watch the stars up there or watch a sunset. And then coming down this way, try not to trip over my generator. We had to add a generator in this year to run our AC. Spent most of the summer out in the dry Montana sun, and that sun beats things up. So we needed this generator so that we could run the air conditioning around the clock, because our solar setup just really isn't set up for that much load on our electrical system. But anyway, this has been working great. Then I'll point up here, we have our freshwater intake, and this feeds into a 100-gallon water tank that sits right underneath our bed. Coming around to the back of the bus, I'll point out the hitch. This hitch is a 750-pound hitch. Now, the only thing that we're storing on here is our generator and our fuel tank. So it has more than enough load capacity for both those things, but why it needs to be extra beefy is because the back of the bus is super bouncy. With weight on the back of this thing, it needs to be able to withstand the flex while we're driving, because there's some pretty gnarly roads out here in America, and we're just doing our best. Now coming around to the passenger side of the bus, we put a ladder on here. We got this from Rec Pro. And what's nice is it has a two-pin system that releases it, and you can just push it back up into the bus so that it doesn't stick out while you're driving and you don't risk clipping anything on the side of the road. You know, one more thing I'll just call out is that we couldn't have built this bus without the help of our family and friends. It was a long year of blood, sweat, and tears, literally every single weekend, heads down. And if we didn't have them, well, we'd probably still be building the bus. Over here also behind is where our shore power outlet is. So when we're running our generator or we're at a campground that has a electrical hookup, we just plug our 30 amp plug right into here and connect it to a power source, and that charges our battery system, which is also housed underneath our bed on the opposite side of the water tank. This is our newest addition to the bus. We built this while we were on the road, and it's really simple. You just take it, fold it up, and we used a gate latch for it, and then that'll lock and keep it in while we're driving. And then when we get set up, this essentially functions as our mud room. So when we have the dog day at the beach, we can plop them up here and brush all the sand off them. If we come back from a hike with muddy boots, we can use this area to get situated. That way we don't bring the outside in with us, even though that is a losing battle. So anyway, if you come around here, I'll just point out up at the top, we have security cameras on all 4 sides of the bus. 2 on the sides that point down the length of the bus, and then 1 on the front and the back. It's great as a dash cam while we're driving, and also functions as a security camera system for us when we're parked out in the middle of nowhere. Our bus is an International. It's a 2012 International PB105 school bus. It has a DT466 engine in it, and when we bought it, it had 100,000 miles on it, and to date, we're about 10 months into our journey, and we put a total of 23,000 miles on this bus in 10 months. It's been a whole lot of driving this year. Now, the paint job for this bus is pretty much one of our crowning achievements for this bus build. We took giant rolls of construction paper, cut out the ridge lines for them, and Heather hit it with the spray brush, and we just rinsed and repeat until we had this cascading ridge line of mountains. Let me tell you, we've seen quite a few of these being on the road now, and it's pretty awesome. So I'll take you inside now, and Heather will show you around what's going on the inside.
Okay, so now that Joe showed you the outside of the bus, let's go take a look inside. We also kept the original school bus doors because it just adds a lot of charm, honestly. Welcome to my home. So the layout of the bus is technically a studio apartment because there's no separation. So as you can see behind me, it's all one space. And so here we have our kitchen. We have our 3-burner stove as well as our full range oven. I am a pretty good baker and cook, not gonna lie. Being able to cook and bake in the bus has been just so cool. And it's just like a nice way to like end the day with a nice homemade meal, batch of cookies, you know, all that kind of good stuff. We have our butcher block countertop, which is actually not just a countertop. So if you pop this open, it turns into the sink, which is pretty cool. because when you live in a bus, everything has to be multifunctional. Everything has to serve more than one purpose. So this is our half counter, half sink action going on. And then up here we have our overhead pantry storage. You put dishes in there, cups, mugs, pasta, all kinds of stuff. And then we pack it in really, really tight so that nothing falls out or breaks, because that happens actually a lot. And then underneath all of this, we have our cabinets, just like regular kitchen cabinets, except they push into place when we drive. These two don't. They're actually broken at the moment, hence the gorgeous rubber bands we have going on. So we have to fix those, just another project for another day. If you take one step over here, we have our living room, if you will. So this is our dinette bench seating area. So this as well is multifunctional. So essentially we just pop off this cushion and it becomes our table when we just lift it up. So it's not only a comfy couch, but it is also our dining area. Moving on to the middle of the bus, we have our apartment size refrigerator. This is a great size for Joe and I. We didn't have to compromise on, you know, having a tiny little fridge. And then we have our pantry up here. It doesn't look like your average pantry. No. This is not your average pantry. This is a Joe McGarty original pantry. He actually came up with this idea of building sort of like a box for it. And then essentially, this is actually my granola, it's really good. The mason jars fit nice and snug into these compartments, so they're not going anywhere, and they haven't gone anywhere, knock on wood. Over here is our shower bathroom combo. We have our shower head that actually detaches. This is really good for washing moose and maple, which is not the greatest job, but it definitely makes life a lot easier when you can just hose them off instead of like putting them in the sink or something. We also have our lovely compost toilet. This is just part of being a nomad. It's not the most glamorous, not the most fancy, but it gets the job done. We're gonna move to the back of the bus. We have our beautiful wood burning stove slash fireplace. This was a labor of love. This was an engineering project, to say the least, but I am so happy that we have this. Not in the summer. Obviously we don't use this in the summertime, but when it gets really cold, you feel the chill in the air. It's nice when it's a really chilly night to just put the wood in there, watch it crackle, and just, I don't know, cozy up by a good fire. This section is probably my favorite section in the bus. I know the wood burning stove was really cool, but Joe and I are huge coffee lovers, so an espresso machine was not a want, but a need. We cannot live without this. To be honest, this is the Casa Brew mini espresso machine, and it's great. Above the espresso machine, we do have our overhead storage for things like hats and bandanas and miscellaneous items. We also have just a bunch of bins for electronics, for sweaters, bulkier items, things like that. This is our bedroom. This is a queen size bed, and it's actually really roomy. Joe, me, Moose, and Maple fit in here nice and snugly. Right above our bed, we have more storage space. So we have our t-shirts, pants, anything light that you can kind of just grab and go. We have our gaming corner, which Joe and I are big gamers, so we have our card games, our board games, all the essentials for when you're living on the road, of course. And then right behind me, we actually kept the emergency exit door in the bus, which is honestly such a great feature because you could just pop it open, get a nice breeze, and then if we stay at a really cool campsite and want to like take in the view, we could just do it from the bed. So pretty cool. We're going to go towards the front of the bus because I have a few more things to show you. So this beautiful mural is actually our sticker collection. Since we started Bus Life about 11 months ago, Joe and I have collected stickers from pretty much everywhere we've been. If you guys recognize any of these places, make sure to leave it in the comment below. Or if you have a sticker that you really like, be sure to let us know too. So right above the front of the bus, we do have our bookshelf with a ton of great books. I'm not the biggest reader, but I am really trying my best, you guys. I'm like a Netflix kind of person. We also built out some mini cubbies as well for miscellaneous items that we just kind of put up. And lastly, the captain's quarter. So this is Joe's domain, Joe's dojo, if you will. We actually kept the original bus seat because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? And it's actually kind of cool as a cool reminder that this is a school bus, and sometimes I forget, truthfully, because it's just so nice. I think my piece of advice for anyone wanting to do nomadic life is just be extremely open-minded. Don't close yourself off on any ideas or any places. I would say just be as open-minded as you can be. Meet people, go to random towns, go to big towns, just go. Just do it.
Just go.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. I think what I'll say is if you're thinking about, nomadic lifestyle, living on the road, and you don't really know where to start, there is what we found is there's a huge well of resources in this community, and this community is one that feels like it really wants to support one another. I think there's a common through line for everyone, whether you built out your rig or you just purchased it. This life on the road is not easy. It's full of challenge, but the rewards are tenfold. And I feel like the community really understands that about one another, and they're willing and want to lend help, advice, and tips. But the biggest thing is just starting,
If you have an idea, just execute it.
Yeah, whether we bought the bus or not, a week after our honeymoon, this past 10 months would have just passed us by. I guess 2 years now since we started building the bus. Would have came and went, whether we had the bus or not. Time doesn't wait for anybody. So, it's one step at a time, but that first step is just...
It's the hardest step.
Yeah.
It's the hardest step to actually do something. It's so easy to dream and wonder, what if I built this? What if I did that?
Well, what if you didn't?
What if, I really just say, if you have an idea, just go for it, or at least make the steps in the right direction.
Taking that first step, once you make it, whether you're ready for the rest of the journey or not, I'd encourage you to do things before you're ready, because it forces you to shift your mindset into one of problem solving. And I don't know, do things before you're ready, take that leap of faith, trust in yourself, trust in your own 2 feet, and whatever dream you set for yourself, because if this is the life for you, it's all out here. It's waiting for you to come and get it. So, and we'll help any bit that we can. If you got any questions, throw them our way. We're happy to help.
Yep.
I think the most rewarding thing for me are getting to watch these little rascals, these little doggies run around and play and hike through the mountains and sprint down the coastlines and weave in and out of the sagebrush and the prairies and all that good stuff. And I don't know.
It's a good life.
Sometimes I wish I was one of these dogs, So anyway, if you're interested in seeing what some of the adventures we get up to or some of the shenanigans we find ourselves in, why don't you click on the next video? It's us going around the entire Olympic Peninsula in Washington. And let me tell you, it's been one of our favorite places to date.
There's a lot of cool stuff in that video.
Yeah.
So if you want to see some cool stuff, some cool creatures.
And even if you just want to see Moose Maple going crazy on the beach, click the video. Thanks for tuning in to Roaming with Moose.